I'm running through corridors I don't recognize, my bare feet slipping on marble slick with rain that somehow pours inside the palace walls. The first alpha has risen. 3 days since we broke Kieran's curse. 3 days of fragile peace where I thought, foolishly, desperately, that maybe we'd won. That maybe breaking a 300-year curse would be enough. I was wrong. The oracle's warning echoes in my mind as I sprint through the chaos. You didn't break the curse, child. You transferred it. Behind me, I hear them, Kieran's ancestors, pulled from death by the very magic we used to save him. Ghostly wolves with eyes like burning coals, hunting the one who dared to cheat their family's fate. And leading them? The first alpha himself. The man who started it all. The one who betrayed my foremother and forged the curse from her dying breath. He wants his debt paid. And he's decided I'm the payment. The silver flame flickers weakly at my fingertips. I've been using it for hours, fighting, fleeing, and I'm running on empty. The mate bond with Kieran thrums with his panic, his fury, his desperate search for me through a palace that's become a labyrinth of the dead. Elara. His mental voice crashes through our connection. Where are you? I don't know, I send back, my thoughts fractured with fear. The walls keep changing. It's like the palace itself is hunting me. Stay alive. Please, just stay alive. I'm coming. The bond cuts off as I slam into a wall that wasn't there a second ago. I stumble backward, and suddenly I'm not in a corridor anymore. I'm in a throne room carved from bone and shadow. And sitting on a throne made of frozen starlight is the first alpha, wearing Kieran's face but wrong, older, crueler, touched by death and centuries of rage. Hello, little silver wolf, he says with a smile that's all teeth. We have so much to discuss about what you stole from me. If you're just joining us and need to know how we got here, part 1 is on the channel, but don't go yet, because what happens next will change everything. Hit subscribe and that notification bell for Moonlight Mate stories, because you won't want to miss a single second of this. Now, let's see if Elara survives meeting the monster who started it all. Step away from her. Kieran's voice cuts through the throne room like a blade, and suddenly he's there. My mate, my anchor, silver fire blazing in his eyes and the crown prince's authority radiating from every pore. But the first alpha just laughs. Bold words for the descendant who broke my masterpiece. Do you know how long it took me to weave that curse? How much power I poured into ensuring my bloodline would suffer as I suffered? Your bloodline? Kieran snarls, moving to stand between me and his ancestor. You murdered an innocent woman for her power. You deserved every moment of suffering. Innocent? The first alpha's eyes flash with ancient fury. She rejected me. Me. The strongest wolf who ever lived. She chose death over bonding with me, and you call her innocent? The truth hits me like a physical blow. You tried to force the bond. That's why she cursed you. That's why she was mine by right of conquest. The ghost surges to his feet, and the throne room trembles. I defeated her pack. Claimed her territory. By ancient law, she belonged to me. But she refused. Said she'd rather die than be shackled to someone who thought love was something you could take. I see it now, the real story beneath the legend. Not a villain stealing power, but an entitled alpha who couldn't handle rejection. Who punished his entire bloodline because one woman dared to say no. She was right to refuse you, I say quietly, and the silver flame steadies in my hands. Because you don't understand what love is. What a mate bond should be. You just wanted to own her. And you think my descendant is any different? The first alpha's smile is venomous. He kidnapped you. Dragged you from your home. Made you responsible for his survival. How is that choice? How is that freedom? For a moment, just a heartbeat, doubt flickers through me. Because he's right. Kieran did take me. Did force this destiny upon me. But then I feel it through the bond, Kieran's absolute certainty that he'd let me go if I asked. His bone-deep commitment to my agency, even if it costs him everything. His love, real, true, freely given even knowing I might not return it. He's different, I say, because he learned from your mistakes. Because he chose to break the cycle instead of perpetuating it. And because when I chose him back, it was mine to choose. We'll see how long that choice lasts, the first alpha says, and suddenly he's not a ghost anymore. He's solid, real, powered by the very curse magic we thought we'd destroyed. Because here's what you don't understand, little silver wolf, when you broke the curse, you didn't end it. You just changed its form. Instead of killing heirs at 25, it now wants what it was originally owed, a silver wolf's willing submission. Ice floods my veins. What? The curse was always meant to be a bargain, a silver wolf's power, freely given, to end my bloodline's suffering. Your foremother refused, so I made it automatic, kill my heirs until one of her descendants finally paid the price. His eyes gleam with triumph. But you got clever. You bonded with him, thinking that would satisfy the debt. It didn't. The curse just adapted. Kieran's hand finds mine, our fingers lacing together. What do you want? I want what I've always wanted, a silver wolf who chooses me. Who bonds with me. Who gives me the power that was stolen when your foremother killed herself rather than submit. The first alpha moves closer, and I can smell death and old magic on him. Break your bond with him, Alara. Choose me instead. And I'll let you both live. Refuse, and I'll drag him into death with me, and his entire bloodline with him. You're insane, I breathe. I'm patient. I've been dead for 300 years. I can wait 300 more. But can he? The first alpha gestures, and suddenly Kieran gasps, falling to his knees. Every second you delay, the curse tightens around his heart. Soon it won't matter what you choose. He'll be mine either way. Stop. I scream, silver flame erupting. Let him go. Choose. The word echoes through the throne room like a death knell. Him or me. Life or death. Freedom or duty. Choose now, silver wolf, or watch him die screaming. Time seems to stop as Kieran convulses on the floor, the curse wrapping around his heart like thorny vines, and I'm drowning in impossible choices. But then, like the oracle said, memory isn't just mine anymore. Through the mate bond, through the silver wolf bloodline, I feel her. My foremother. The woman who started this all. Her name was Lyanna. I see her as she was, fierce and beautiful, with silver hair that caught moonlight and violet eyes that saw through lies. She ruled her pack with wisdom and compassion, and when the first alpha came demanding her submission, she laughed in his face. You think strength is domination, she told him. But real strength is knowing when to yield, when to fight, and when to walk away. You'll never understand that. So no, I won't bond with you. I won't give you my power. I won't be your prize. He gave her 3 days to reconsider. 3 days during which he slaughtered her pack members one by one, trying to break her will. On the 3rd day, she stood before him with her remaining wolves, 12, including her younger sister, pregnant with her first child, and made a choice. You want my power, she said, silver flame blazing in her hands. You want a bond forged in blood? Then take it. Take all of it. She turned the power inward. Burned herself from the inside out. And with her dying breath, she wove a curse so intricate, so perfectly cruel, that even the moon goddess couldn't unravel it. Every firstborn heir of your blood will die as I die, alone, afraid, and far too young. They'll die until one of my descendants chooses freely what I refused. Only then will the debt be paid. The first alpha screamed as the curse took hold, as his unborn son's heartbeat stuttered in the womb. He tried to stop it, to reverse it, but Lyanna's sister, my direct ancestor, escaped with her child, carrying on the bloodline in secret. For 300 years, they waited. Watching alphas die. knowing that someday, somehow, a silver wolf would rise who was strong enough to end it. Me. The vision releases me, and I'm gasping, tears streaming down my face because I finally understand. She didn't refuse you because she was proud, I tell the first alpha, my voice shaking with rage and grief. She refused because she saw you. Saw what you'd become with her power. Saw the monster you'd evolve into. And she chose death over enabling that. And look where it got her. The first alpha sneers, but I see the flicker of old pain beneath his cruelty. Dead at 23, her pack scattered, her bloodline forced into hiding. Was her pride worth all that suffering? Yes. The word comes out fierce and certain. Because she died free. She died knowing she never let you break her. That matters more than you'll ever understand. Kieran coughs blood, and the bond between us frays. I can feel him slipping away, the curse pulling him toward death. I have seconds to decide. Do I break my bond with Kieran and submit to the first alpha, saving my mate but damning myself to an eternity with a monster? Or do I let Kieran die, staying true to my foremother's legacy but losing the man I love? There has to be another way. There has to. Then I remember what the oracle said, buried beneath the warning. Curses born from violation can only be broken by understanding. Understanding what? And suddenly, I know. You don't want my power, I say quietly, looking at the first alpha with new eyes. You don't even want me. You want what Lyanna refused to give you, validation. Proof that you were worthy. That you weren't the monster everyone said you were. His face spasms. Don't presume to. 300 years of watching your heirs die, and you still don't understand why she refused you. I take a step closer, lowering my flames. It wasn't about strength or worthiness or ancient laws. It was about respect. About seeing her as a person instead of a prize. About understanding that love, real love, can't be forced or claimed or won through violence. She didn't love me, he whispers, and for the first time I hear the broken man beneath the monster. No. She didn't. And that's okay. That's the point. I kneel beside Kieran, placing my hand over his heart where the curse is crushing it. You can't make someone love you. You can't force a bond. You can only offer yourself honestly and hope they choose you back. Lyanna's crime wasn't refusing you, it was that you never gave her the chance to choose freely. It's too late, the first alpha says, but his voice wavers. The curse is set. The magic is woven. It demands payment. Then I'll pay for it. I look up at him, silver flame blazing in my eyes. But not the way you think. What are you doing? The first alpha demands as I place both hands over Kieran's chest, silver flame pouring from my palms into the curse marks. Paying the debt, I say through gritted teeth. But on my terms. The throne room begins to glow, not with violet or silver, but with pure white light that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. The oracle appears, no longer blind, no longer frail, but radiant with power. Finally, she breathes. After 300 years, someone finally understands. Understand what? The first alpha roars. That the curse was never about punishment. The oracle moves to stand beside me, and I realize she's not just a seer, she's a guardian. A keeper of truths. Lyanna didn't curse you out of revenge. She cursed you out of hope. That's insane. She knew her death would haunt you. Knew you'd spend centuries trying to undo what you'd done. She wove the curse with a hidden clause, one that only a silver wolf who truly understood both sides could activate. The oracle touches my shoulder, and suddenly I see it, the hidden magic woven into every strand of the curse. A choice. Always a choice. The curse demands a silver wolf's willing bond, I say slowly, understanding blooming. But it never specified who the bond had to be with. Not with you, with understanding itself. With the lesson Lyanna tried to teach you. I pull the curse out of Kieran's chest, not destroying it, but transforming it. The black, writhing energy turns silver in my hands, and I see its true form. A test. A mirror. A chance for redemption. This curse has killed 20 generations of your heirs, I tell the first alpha, holding the transformed magic between us. Each death was meant to teach you something. To force you to confront what you'd become. But you never learned. You just grew angrier, more bitter, more convinced you were the victim. I was the victim. She rejected me, humiliated me. She said no. My voice cracks like thunder, and the silver flame surges. That's not humiliation. That's autonomy. That's her right as a living, breathing person with her own wants and desires and dreams. You weren't entitled to her just because you were strong. Just because you wanted her. Just because ancient laws said you could claim her. The first alpha staggers, and for the first time I see cracks in his certainty. You want to know why the curse won't end? I continue, tears streaming down my face. Because you still don't believe you did anything wrong. You still think you deserved her. That if she'd just seen you, just understood you, she would have chosen you. But the truth is simpler and crueler, she knew exactly who you were. And she chose death over a lifetime with someone who saw her as a possession. Silence falls over the throne room. Then, quietly, the first alpha asks, "What do I do?" You let go. I extend my hand, offering him the transformed curse. You accept that you hurt someone who deserved better. You acknowledge that your pain doesn't justify what you did to her, to your bloodline, to countless innocents. And you choose, freely, finally, to end this cycle. If I let go, I fade. I disappear completely. No afterlife, no second chances, just nothing. I know. My voice is gentle. But isn't that better than this? Than haunting your descendants for eternity? Than being the monster in every story, the warning in every lesson? He looks at Kieran, still gasping on the floor, then at me, at the silver wolf who could have been his salvation if he'd just learned to see her as human. She really chose death over me? Yes. Even knowing what it would cost her people? Especially knowing that. I step closer. Because she understood something you never did, some chains are worse than death. Some cages are more terrible than any physical prison. And living with someone who sees you as property instead of a partner? That's not life. That's just a different kind of dying. The first alpha closes his eyes, and when he opens them again, they're not cruel anymore. Just tired. I'm so tired. I'm sorry, he whispers, and the words carry the weight of 3 centuries. I'm sorry I didn't see her. I'm sorry I hurt everyone else's burden. I'm sorry I. His voice breaks, and suddenly he's not the terrifying first alpha anymore. He's just a man who made terrible choices and never learned to live with the consequences. I forgive you, I say, and mean it. Not for her, I can't speak for Lyanna's pain. But for your heirs, for your bloodline, for the curse that's haunted so many innocent people. I forgive you. And I release you. I press the transformed curse into his chest, and he gasps as silver light floods through him. Thank you, he breathes, and then he's fading, not violently, but gently. Peacefully. Finally finding the rest he's been denied for 300 years. As he disappears, the curse dissolves. Not transferred, not transformed, but ended. Truly ended. The throne room shatters, and suddenly we're back in the real palace, Kieran gasping as his heartbeat steadies, the curse marks on his chest fading to nothing but faint silver scars. You did it, the oracle says, pride shining in her restored eyes. You understood what Lyanna hoped someone would, that cycles of pain only end when someone chooses compassion over revenge. I collapse beside Kieran, exhausted beyond measure. He pulls me into his arms, and through the bond, I feel his overwhelming relief, his gratitude, his bone-deep love. Is it really over? I whisper. Not quite, the oracle says, and her smile is enigmatic. You broke the curse. But you also awakened something that's been sleeping for 300 years. The palace begins to shake, not with the first alpha's rage, but with something older. Something that's been waiting. And in the distance, I hear a voice that makes my blood run cold. The silver wolf has proven herself. Now, the Real test begins. We barely have time to catch our breath before they arrive. Not ghosts this time. Not curse-born apparitions or ancient alphas pulled from death. Real wolves. Powerful wolves. Wearing masks of polished silver and robes of midnight blue. The Shadow Council, the Oracle breathes, and I've never heard fear in her voice before. They weren't supposed to wake for another century. Who are they? Kieran demands, pulling me behind him as a dozen masked figures fill the throne room. The original architects of werewolf society. The ones who created the laws, the hierarchies, the very concept of Alpha and Omega. The Oracle's hands shake. They went into magical stasis 2,000 years ago, meant to wake only when our kind faced extinction. But you just rewrote one of their fundamental curses. You changed the rules. And that triggered their awakening. The central figure steps forward. Taller than the others, wearing a mask carved to look like a screaming wolf. When they speak, the voice is neither male nor female, but something ancient and absolute. Elara Nightshade. Kieran Blackthorn. You stand accused of breaking the sacred laws. We broke a curse, I protest, stepping out from behind Kieran. We ended 300 years of suffering. How is that against your laws? You rewrote magic without permission. You altered a curse contract without council approval. You interfered with the natural order. The figure's mask tilts. But most egregiously, you proved that an Omega can overcome Alpha-made magic. That breaks our most fundamental law, Omegas submit. Alphas dominate. That is the way it has always been. Rage floods through me, hot and cleansing. That's not a law. That's oppression. It is order, another council member snarls. For 2,000 years, we have maintained the balance. Alphas lead. Betas follow. Omegas serve. This hierarchy has kept our kind strong, united, powerful. You threaten to unravel everything with your silver wolf power and your romantic notions of equality. Equality isn't a romantic notion, Kieran says coldly. It's basic decency. You would say that, having been weakened by the mate bond. The screaming wolf mask focuses on him. You were meant to be the strongest alpha of your generation, Prince. Instead, you bound yourself to an Omega who makes you soft. Who makes you question the very foundations of wolf society. She makes me better, Kieran counters. She challenges me to be more than just strong. To be just. To lead with wisdom instead of fear. Pretty words. But we've seen where such thinking leads. Chaos, weakness, the dissolution of everything our ancestors built. The masked figure gestures, and suddenly silver chains erupt from the floor, wrapping around Kieran's wrists and ankles. You have a choice, Prince. Renounce your bond with the Omega. Take a proper alpha mate from one of the great houses. Embrace your role as we designed it. Or. The chains tighten, and Kieran cries out in pain. Or. I snarl, silver flame blazing. Or we strip you of your title, your pack, your birthright. We exile you both to the dead lands where no wolf can survive alone. And we find another heir to mold properly. The masked wolf turns to face the assembled court that's been watching in shocked silence. Let this be a lesson, challenge the sacred laws, and you lose everything. No, the word escapes me before I can think, powered by fury and desperation and the absolute certainty that I will not let them break what we've built. You want a demonstration of power? You want to see what a silver wolf can do when you threaten what she loves? The flame erupts, not wild, not uncontrolled, but purposeful and devastating. It shatters the chains holding Kieran, then spreads outward in a wave of silver light that forces the Shadow Council backward. You've been asleep for 2,000 years, I say, my voice echoing with power I'm only beginning to understand. The world has changed. Wolves have changed. And your precious hierarchy? It was built on lies and fear and the suppression of anyone who didn't fit your narrow definition of strong. Careful, child, the oracle warns. No. I'm done being careful. I step forward, and the council actually retreats. Lyanna died because someone thought ancient laws entitled them to her body, her power, her future. 20 generations of heirs died because no one questioned whether a 300-year-old curse might be unjust. And how many Omegas have suffered in silence because you convinced everyone that submission was natural instead of enforced? You don't understand what you're risking, one of the council members starts. I understand perfectly. You're terrified. Terrified that if Omegas realize they have power, your entire system collapses. Terrified that if Alphas learn to lead with compassion instead of dominance, you become obsolete. Terrified that the world might not need your sacred laws anymore. The screaming wolf mask tilts. Bold words from someone who's about to be erased from history. They raise their hand, and suddenly I feel it, magic older than anything I've encountered, wrapping around my throat like a noose. This isn't curse magic or pack magic. This is fundamental, reality-bending power that rewrites the rules of existence itself. We created the concept of Omega, the masked figure says as I choke. We wove it into the very fabric of wolf nature. And what we create, we can destroy. You wanted to break the hierarchy? Fine. We'll simply remove you from it entirely. No longer Omega. No longer wolf. No longer anything but a cautionary tale. The world starts to blur, I can feel myself unraveling, my wolf nature being stripped away, my very existence being rewritten. Then Kieran's hand finds mine. The mate bond blazes between us, and suddenly I'm not alone. His alpha power flows into me, not dominating but supporting. Strengthening. Anchoring. You want to erase her? Kieran's voice is thunder and fury. Then you erase me too. Because we're bound. Soul deep. And whatever magic you're using? It can't sever what the moon goddess herself sanctified. Other wolves step forward, members of Kieran's pack, servants who I've befriended, even some of the council members who opposed me before. They form a circle around us, adding their power to ours. You say Omegas are meant to submit, one of the servants says, a young woman I taught to read. But Alara taught me I could be more. Could be strong without being cruel. Could serve without being servile. She saved my daughter when traditional medicine failed, another wolf adds. Used her silver wolf magic to heal what the healers said was incurable. Tell me again how Omegas are worthless. More voices join, a chorus of wolves who've seen what I am, what we could be if we stopped letting ancient prejudice define us. The Shadow Council's magic falters. This is impossible, the screaming wolf mask says. The hierarchy is woven into your very nature. You can't just choose differently. Watch us, I say, and smile through the pain. The silver flame explodes outward, carrying with it the voices of everyone who's ever been told they were less than, not enough, too weak. It doesn't destroy the Shadow Council's magic, it transforms it, showing them the flaw in their design. You can't control what people choose to be. You can only control what they believe they're allowed to be. And we no longer believe their lies. The chains shatter. The council staggers. And for the first time in 2,000 years, the sacred laws bend. This isn't over, the screaming wolf mask says as the council begins to fade. We'll return. We'll restore order. You'll learn, I interrupt. Just like the first alpha finally learned. Or you'll become irrelevant. Your choice. They disappear in a swirl of shadow and rage, and the throne room falls silent except for our labored breathing. Did we just declare war on the oldest power structure in werewolf history? Kieran asks. Yep. Good. He pulls me close, And I feel his grin against my hair. I was getting bored with just breaking curses. That night, Kieran takes me to the highest tower of the palace. A place he says no one else knows about, where you can see the entire realm spread out beneath you like a tapestry of starlight and shadow. My mother used to bring me here, he says quietly as we settle on the stone parapet, his arms wrapped around me from behind. When the weight of being crown prince got too heavy, she'd show me the realm and remind me, every light down there is a life. Every life is a story. And our job isn't to control those stories, it's to protect them so they can be told. I lean back into his warmth, exhausted from the day's battles but safe in this moment. She sounds wise. She was. She would have loved you. His chin rests on top of my head. Would have seen what I see, someone who fights not for power, but for the right of others to be free. I'm terrified I'm going to fail, I admit. The first alpha, the Shadow Council, breaking the curse, it all feels like I'm stumbling through the dark, hoping I don't destroy everything I touch. You're not stumbling. You're blazing a trail. His arms tighten. Do you know what you did today? You looked at 2,000-year-old power structures and said no. You faced down wolves who literally created our society and refused to bow. That's not stumbling, Alara. That's revolution. Revolution is terrifying. Everything worth doing is. He turns me to face him, and in the moonlight, his silver eyes are luminous. But you're not doing it alone. You have me. My pack. Every wolf who's been waiting for someone brave enough to say the system is broken. What if I'm not brave enough? What if? He kisses me, cutting off my spiral of doubt. It's not desperate like before, it's slow, deep, full of promises and certainty and bone-deep trust. When we pull apart, I'm breathless for different reasons. I need to tell you something, he says quietly. About why the mate bond was so important to me. Why I was willing to kidnap you, risk war, defy my entire council. Okay. My father was a good king. Strong, just, respected by all the packs. But he wasn't kind. He saw my mother as a political necessity, the right bloodline, the right connections. He never loved her. Never even tried. Kieran's voice roughens. I watched her fade over the years. Watched her become smaller, quieter, until the woman who brought me to this tower and told me about protecting stories became a ghost haunting the palace. My heart aches for him. For her. For all the women who've been reduced to political pawns. When she died, when she was poisoned, my father barely mourned. He started planning his next marriage within weeks. And I swore. He looks away, jaw tight. I swore I'd never do that to someone. I'd never trap someone in a loveless bond just for political gain. So I waited. And waited. Refused every match the council proposed because none of them were right. None of them were. What? You. He meets my eyes again. None of them were you. When the oracle showed me that vision. When I saw you standing in silver flame, fierce and powerful and so much more than you believed yourself to be, I knew. This is what my mother never had. This is what I'd been waiting for. Someone who didn't need me to be anything but myself. Someone who'd challenge me, fight me, make me better just by existing. Tears slipped down my cheeks. I'm sorry I doubted you. Earlier, when the first alpha said. He was right, though. I did kidnap you. Did force this destiny on you without asking. Guilt shadows his face. And I know I can't undo that. Can't erase the fact that our bond started with me taking your choice away. But Alara, if I could go back, knowing what I know now, I'd do it differently. I'd ask instead of taking. I'd give you time instead of an ultimatum. You'd have died, I say softly. The curse would have killed you before I could make an informed choice. So maybe the moon goddess knew what she was doing. Maybe she knew that sometimes the path to real choice has to start with impossible circumstances. That's generous. That's honest. I cup his face, feeling stubble rough against my palms. Yes, you took me. Yes, you pushed me into a destiny I wasn't ready for. But you also saw me when I was invisible. Valued me when my own pack treated me like trash. Gave me power when the world told me I should be powerless. That has to count for something. It counts for everything. He leans into my touch. You're my mate, Alara. My equal. My partner in rebuilding a world that's been broken for too long. And I swear, on my life, on my crown, on every star in the sky, I will spend the rest of our lives proving I'm worthy of the chance you gave me. You already are. I kiss him again, and this time it deepens, becomes something more. Not just affection or comfort, but desire and promise and the beginning of something that's entirely ours. When we finally pull apart, both breathing hard, he grins. We should probably go back inside. People will talk. Let them talk. I pull him closer. I'm done hiding. Done being small. Done apologizing for existing and wanting and loving. My fierce silver wolf. His voice is full of wonder. What did I do to deserve you? You chose to change. To be better than your ancestors. To believe that love is stronger than ancient curses and hierarchies and fear. I rest my forehead. Continue. 18. 17. Against his. That's everything, Kieran. That's more than enough. We stay on the tower until dawn, talking about everything and nothing, his dreams for the realm, my plans to train other Omegas in their power, our shared hope that maybe, impossibly, we can build something new from the ashes of the old. And for the first time since the Oracle screamed my name and changed my life forever, I feel peace. It doesn't last. The attack comes 3 days later, during the bonding ceremony where Kieran and I are supposed to officially announce our mate's bond to the entire realm. The Great Hall is packed with representatives from every pack, alphas and betas and omegas all gathered to witness what many are calling the dawn of a new era. The ceremony is beautiful. Flowers woven with moonlight, songs that echo through the vaulted ceiling, promises spoken in the old tongue. I'm wearing a dress of silver silk that flows like water, my hair crowned with star blossoms. Kieran stands beside me in formal robes, looking every inch the crown prince. The oracle begins the final blessing, her voice carrying through the hall. By the light of the moon goddess, by the bonds of fate and choice, I declare these two souls. She stops. Her eyes, those ancient, all-seeing eyes, go wide with horror. No, she whispers. No, it's too soon. She wasn't supposed to. The doors explode inward. A woman enters, and the sight of her makes my blood freeze. She looks exactly like me. Same dark hair. Same build. Same violet eyes that mark her as silver wolf. But where I wear hope, she wears rage. Where I chose compassion, she's chosen destruction. Hello, sister, she says with a smile like broken glass. Sister? Alara, the oracle says urgently, listen to me carefully. Oh, don't bother. The woman, my apparent sister, laughs. I'm sure you were going to spin some story about how I'm the dark twin. The one who was supposed to be sacrificed to keep the bloodline pure. The one they hid away in shame while you got to play hero. My mind reels. I don't have a sister. I was found alone. Because they made you alone. Her eyes blaze with centuries of grief. Our mother didn't die in that fire. She survived just long enough to separate us. To hide me away where the prophecy couldn't touch me. To give you the chance to be the chosen one while I rotted in isolation, slowly going mad from power I couldn't control. The oracle steps between us. Mara, please. You don't understand what you're. Mara. The name tastes like poison. After our foremother. How poetic. She pushes past the oracle with casual violence. And I understand perfectly. The prophecy said the silver wolf would either save the realm or destroy it. But it never specified which silver wolf, did it? Kieran moves to stand beside me, his hand finding mine. Whatever happened to you, we can fix it. We can. Fix it? Mara's laugh is unhinged. You can't fix 22 years of captivity. 22 years of being told I was too dangerous to exist. 22 years of watching through magical mirrors as my sister got everything I was supposed to have: love, freedom, purpose. I didn't know, I whisper, my heart shattering. I swear, I didn't know you existed. I know. And that's somehow worse, the pity in her voice. They made sure of that. Wiped your memory of me, suppressed the twin bond, raised you to be the hero while I became the cautionary tale. But here's the thing about prophecies, dear sister, they're never as simple as they seem. She raises her hands, and violet fire, darker than mine, touched with shadow, erupts around her. The prophecy said one silver wolf would save the realm. The other would end it. The oracle chose you for salvation. Which means I get to be the destroyer. Her smile is terrible. And I'm going to start by taking everything you love. She gestures, and suddenly wolves in the crowd start convulsing, servants, pack members, even some of the alphas. They're being possessed, their eyes turning the same shadowy violet as Mara's power. Stop. I scream, silver flame blazing. They're innocent. So was I. Mara's voice cracks. So was I when they locked me in a cell of pure silver that burned my skin every day for 22 years. When they fed me just enough to survive but never enough to thrive. When they told me over and over that I was the sacrifice necessary to keep you pure. The oracle's face is ashen. It was the only way. The prophecy was clear, 2 silver wolves born together would destroy each other unless one was isolated. I thought if I could keep you separate until you were both strong enough. You thought wrong. Mara's power surges, and half the hall screams as her possessed wolves attack the others. You don't get to play goddess, oracle. You don't get to decide who lives in sunlight and who lives in shadow. Not anymore. Chaos erupts. Wolves fighting wolves. Silver flame versus shadow flame. And through it all, I can feel it, the twin bond that was always there, buried beneath layers of magical suppression, screaming to reconnect. She's telling the truth. She is my sister. My other half. The piece of me I didn't know was missing. And she's been tortured for it. Kieran, I say urgently, we need to evacuate the innocent. Get them out of. Too late. Mara appears directly in front of us, moving faster than thought. Her hand shoots out, wrapping around Kieran's throat. You want to save them? Then make a choice, sister. Your mate, or your people. You can save one. But not both. Don't, Kieran gasps. Don't give her what she. Mara squeezes, and his words cut off in a choke. 5 seconds, she says pleasantly. 4. 3. Stop. I drop to my knees, silver flame extinguishing. Please. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't hurt him. Don't hurt any of them. Elara, no, the oracle protests. There it is. Mara releases Kieran, who falls gasping. There's the girl who chooses love over duty. Who'd sacrifice everything for one wolf. Pathetic. She circles me like a predator. Our foremother chose death over submission. Chose to burn rather than give power to someone unworthy. But you? You'd give up your power, your purpose, your entire revolution just to save your boyfriend. Disappointing, really. He's not just my boyfriend. I look up at her, tears streaming. He's my choice. My mate. The person I chose to stand beside. And yes, I'd sacrifice everything for him. Because that's what love is. That's what the first alpha never understood. What you don't understand. Love isn't weakness. It's the only thing worth dying for. For a moment, just a heartbeat, something flickers in Mara's eyes. Pain. Longing. The ghost of the sister she could have been. Then it's gone, buried beneath layers of rage and madness. Pretty words. Let's see if they're true. She raises her hand, and shadow fire erupts around Kieran. Renounce your bond with him. Give me your power freely. Become what they tried to make me, a sacrifice for the greater good. Do that, and I'll let him live. Refuse, and I'll burn him alive while you watch. Slowly. Painfully. Making sure you feel every second through your precious mate bond. The hall falls silent except for the crackle of flames and the sound of my shattering heart. Kieran's eyes meet mine through the fire. Through the bond, I feel him sending one message over and over. Don't. Don't sacrifice yourself for me. Don't let her win. But how can I not? How can I choose the revolution over the man I love? How can I be the hero when being the hero means watching my mate burn? I stand slowly, silver flame igniting in my palms, not to attack, but to illuminate truth. You want me to choose, I say, my voice steady despite the tears. Between love and duty. Between my mate and my people. Between being the hero or being human. Yes. Mara's smile is victorious. She thinks she's won. No. The word echoes through the hall like a thunderclap. I refuse your choice. I refuse the binary you're trying to force on me. Because that's what they did to you, isn't it? The Oracle, the Council, everyone who locked you away, they gave you a false choice. Be the sacrifice or be the villain. Accept your isolation or destroy everything. Mara's face spasms. Don't presume to. But there was always a third option. I step forward, and the silver flame spreads, not attacking, but reaching. You could have been both. The sacrifice and the hero. The destroyer and the savior. Because that's what silver wolves are, Mara. We're bridges. We hold contradictions. We contain multitudes. I extend my hand toward her, palm open, flame dancing. You're right. I would die for Kieran. But I'd also die for you. For every Omega who's been told they're worthless. For every wolf who's been locked away because they didn't fit someone's narrow definition of acceptable. I'd die for the chance to build a world where no one else has to choose between their power and their humanity. Pretty speech. But her voice wavers. Doesn't change what was done to me. No. It doesn't. Nothing can change those 22 years. Nothing can give you back the childhood you deserved, the freedom you should have had, the sister you were stolen from. My voice breaks. But I can give you a choice now. A real choice. Not sacrifice or destruction. Not hero or villain. I take another step closer to the shadow fire surrounding Kieran, letting it lick at my skin without flinching. Join me instead. Be my sister. My partner. My equal. Help me burn down the systems that broke us both and build something new from the ashes. You want revenge? Fine. Let's take revenge on every structure, every law, every belief that says some wolves matter less than others. Let's destroy the world that created our pain, and create one that could never do this to anyone else. The hall is silent. Even the possessed wolves have stopped fighting, held by the power of what's unfolding. You think I can just forgive? Mara whispers. After everything? I think you can choose what happens next. They took 22 years from you. Don't let them take the rest of your life too. Don't let their cruelty define who you become. I'm too broken. So am I. I'm close enough now to touch her, and I do, placing my hand over her heart, feeling the frantic beat beneath. I'm broken by abandonment, by years of abuse, by the weight of expectations I never asked for. Kieran's broken by watching his mother fade, by carrying a death sentence for 10 years, by the pressure of being perfect. The Oracle's broken by making impossible choices. Even the first alpha was broken by rejection he couldn't handle. Through our touch, the twin bond ignites, not the suppressed whisper it's been my whole life, but a symphony of connection. I feel everything she's felt. The loneliness, the madness, the desperate hope that someone would see her as more than a monster. We're all broken, I continue, silver and shadow flames intertwining between us. But broken doesn't mean worthless. Broken doesn't mean beyond redemption. Broken just means we're honest about our scars instead of pretending they don't exist. Tears stream down Mara's face, the first crack in her armor. What if I can't control it? The shadow, the rage, the part of me that wants to watch it all burn? Then I'll help you control it. That's what sisters do. That's what the twin bond is for. I squeeze her hand. You weren't meant to bear this alone. None of us were. The prophecy was never about one silver wolf saving everything, it was about two silver wolves, together, being strong enough to hold both light and shadow. To prove that you can acknowledge darkness without becoming it. The Oracle said. The Oracle was wrong. I glance at the ancient seer, who's watching with tears in her own eyes. She made a choice based on fear. Based on old patterns. But we can make a different choice. We can choose each other. Mara looks at Kieran, still trapped in shadow fire, then back at me. If I let him go, if I stop this, what happens to me? You come home. My voice cracks with emotion. You meet your sister properly for the first time. You learn about the world outside silver cells and prophecies. You discover who you are when no one's telling you what you should be. And you help us, help me, figure out how to be silver wolves in a world that's terrified of what we represent. Just like that? Just like that. For a long moment, she just stares at me. Then, so quietly I almost miss it, I'm scared. Me too. Every single day. But Mara? I pull her into a hug, feeling her stiffen in surprise before slowly, tentatively, hugging back. Being scared together is better than being scared alone. The shadow fire around Kieran extinguishes. The possessed wolves collapse, free of her control. And Mara, my sister, my twin, my other half, breaks down sobbing in my arms. I'm sorry, she gasps. I'm so sorry. I just wanted someone to see me. To care that I existed. I see you, I whisper fiercely. I see you, Mara Nightshade. All of you. The rage and the pain and the survivor who endured 22 years of hell and came out still fighting. You're not too much. You're exactly enough. And I will spend the rest of my life proving that you matter. The Oracle approaches slowly, her ancient face wet with tears. I was wrong. I thought keeping you separate would save you both. Instead, I just created different kinds of cages. I'm so sorry, child. To both of you. Mara pulls back from me, wiping her eyes. I want to hate you. Want to make you suffer like you made me suffer. I know. You'd be justified. But. Mara looks at me, then at the assembled wolves watching with bated breath. But my sister just taught me that we don't have to let pain define us. That we can choose what happens next. She takes a shaky breath. So I choose to let you live with your guilt. To make you watch as we build the world you should have helped create. Is that revenge enough? The Oracle smile is bittersweet. More than enough. Kieran appears at my side, pulling me close. That was either the bravest or stupidest thing you've ever done. Probably both. I lean into him, exhausted but triumphant. Kieran, meet Mara. My sister. My twin. The other silver wolf. He extends his hand. Welcome to the family. We're a mess, but we're your mess now. Mara stares at his hand like it's a foreign object. Then, slowly, she shakes it. I'm going to be terrible at this. At being part of something. At trusting people. Good thing you've got a sister who's also terrible at it, I say with a watery smile. We'll figure it out together. She laughs, a broken, beautiful sound. Together. I like that word. Then the ground shakes. The Shadow Council materializes, all 12 of them, their silver masks gleaming in the firelight. How touching, the leader says, voice dripping with contempt. The broken twins reunited. But did you really think we'd allow this? Allow you to rewrite laws that have stood for millennia? You don't get a vote anymore, I say, stepping forward with Mara at my side. Your time is over. Our time is eternal. We created Wolf Society. We wove the magic that makes your hierarchies function. You built a prison, Mara interrupts, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. And we're tearing it down. The council leader laughs. With what power? Your children playing at revolution. We are gods. No. The oracle steps forward, and suddenly she's not frail anymore, she's blazing with power that makes even the Shadow Council step back. You're wolves who elevated yourselves through fear and manipulation. But you made one critical mistake 2,000 years ago. And what was that? You created silver wolves to be your enforcers. Your bridges between worlds. Your ultimate weapons. The oracle's smile is sharp. But you never considered what would happen if they decided to enforce justice instead of your will. Mara and I lock eyes, and through the twin bond, understanding flows. Together, we raise our hands, silver and shadow intertwining, light and dark becoming something new. Something that's never existed before. The power that erupts from us isn't violent. It's revelatory. It shows every wolf in the realm the truth, how the Shadow Council built their hierarchy not on strength or wisdom, but on lies. How they convinced alphas they were superior through magic, not merit. How they suppressed omegas not because they were weak, but because they were too powerful. Their ability to bond, to nurture, to unite packs threatened the Council's control. The truth floods through every bond, every pack link, every connection between wolves across the realm. And the Shadow Council's power dissolves. No, the leader screams as their mask cracks, revealing an ancient wolf whose eyes hold nothing but terror. You don't understand what you've done. The hierarchy was holding back. Nothing but your own fear of irrelevance, Kieran says, stepping forward to stand with us. You were terrified that if wolves realized they didn't need you, you'd fade into obscurity. So you built systems of oppression and called them natural law. The realm will descend into chaos without us. Maybe, I say calmly. Or maybe wolves are strong enough to govern themselves with justice instead of domination. Let's find out. The silver and shadow flame surges one final time, and the Shadow Council simply fades. Not violently. Not with screams or explosions. They just cease to be relevant, their power stripped away by truth itself. The hall falls silent. Then, slowly, wolves begin to stand. Omegas who've lived in submission their whole lives. Betas who've been overlooked. Even alphas who've been crushed under the weight of impossible expectations. They stand, and they howl. Not in challenge or aggression, but in celebration. In freedom. The oracle approaches us, and for the first time, she looks her age, ancient, exhausted, but at peace. You did it. You actually did it. Broke not just the curse, but the system that created it. What happens now? Mara asks, still holding my hand like she's afraid I'll disappear. Now? The oracle smiles. Now you live. Build the world you want to see. Make mistakes and learn from them. Be the sisters you were always meant to be. She looks at all three of us. The prophecy is fulfilled. The curse is ended. The hierarchy is shattered. The rest is up to you. She begins to fade, not dying, but completing her purpose. Wait. I call out. Where are you going? To rest. Finally. Her voice grows distant. My job was to guide you here. Yours is to decide what comes next. Choose wisely, silver wolves. Choose with courage. And remember. She's almost gone now, just a whisper on the wind. Remember that every ending is also a beginning. 6 months after the bonding ceremony that changed everything, I stand in the same great hall, but it looks nothing like it did. The throne is gone, melted down and reformed into a table where representatives from every pack can sit as equals. The banners that once proclaimed hierarchy have been replaced with tapestries woven by omegas, betas, and alphas working together, each one telling a story of survival, of change, of hope. Kieran stands at my right, his hand warm in mine, the mate bond between us stronger than ever. We've learned to lead together, not with domination, but with listening. Not with absolute authority, but with the willingness to admit when we're wrong. Mara stands at my left, and though she still has nightmares, though she still struggles with the darkness, she's healing. She teaches self-defense to omegas who've never been allowed to fight. She counsels wolves who've been isolated or abused. She's becoming the protector she needed when she was locked away. Are you ready? Kieran asks as the representatives begin to file in. No, I admit. But I don't think we're supposed to be ready. I think we're just supposed to try. Today, we're voting on the new laws, the framework for a society built on consent and equality instead of force and hierarchy. It won't be perfect. We'll make mistakes. Some packs will resist, and there will be conflicts we can't foresee. But it's ours. Created by wolves who chose to imagine something better. The vote passes, not unanimously, but with enough support to begin. As the hall erupts in celebration, Mara leans over and whispers, "Do you think it'll last? This new world we're building?" I look at the wolves celebrating, alphas and omegas dancing together, betas leading discussions, former servants sitting at the table of power. I think it has a chance, I say. And sometimes a chance is all you need. That night, the three of us return to Kieran's tower, our tower now, a place where we come to remember who we are beneath the titles and expectations. Tell me something true, Mara says, echoing the game Kieran and I played months ago. I'm terrified I'll fail everyone who's counting on me, Kieran admits. I still have days where I want to burn everything down, Mara confesses. I'm still learning to believe I deserve this, I add. That I deserve love and purpose and a sister and a future. We sit in comfortable silence, three broken wolves who chose to be whole together. But here's another truth, Kieran says. I'm grateful. For every moment that led here. For the curse that brought Alara into my life. For the pain that taught us compassion. I'm grateful too, Mara whispers. Even for the 22 years in darkness. Because they led me to this moment. To having a sister. To knowing what it feels like to be chosen. And I'm grateful, I finish, that we get to write the ending. That we didn't let prophecies or curses or ancient councils decide our story. We decided it ourselves. The sun begins to rise, painting the realm in shades of silver and gold. A new day. A new world. A new story. To the revolution, Kieran says softly. To broken things becoming whole, Mara adds. To choosing each other, I finish. Every single day. Music swells beautifully, then fades. Narrator's voice becomes intimate, directly addressing the listener. So that's their story. Not perfect. Not tied up with a neat bow. But real. Alara learned that love isn't weakness, it's the bravest choice you can make. Kieran learned that true strength comes from knowing when to yield, not just when to fight. And Mara learned that 22 years of darkness don't define you, what you do with the light does. They broke a 300-year curse. Shattered a 2,000-year hierarchy. And prove that sometimes the most radical thing you can do is choose compassion over revenge, love over duty, and hope over despair. Pause. If this story reached inside your chest and grabbed hold, if you felt their fear, their fury, their refusal to accept the cages others built, then don't let this moment fade. Subscribe to Moonlight Mate Stories. Hit that notification bell, because we have dozens more tales like this one. Stories about the outcasts who become legends, the broken things that forge themselves into something beautiful, the wolves who refuse to bow. Drop a comment and tell me, what would you have done in Alara's place? Would you have chosen love or revolution, or would you have found a way to choose both? What's the cage you're trying to break free from in your own life? Because here's the truth, this isn't just a story about werewolves and magic and ancient curses. It's a story about anyone who's ever been told they're too much or not enough. Anyone who's been locked away for being inconvenient. Anyone who's been forced to choose between who they are and who they're supposed to be. It's a story about refusing to accept that the world as it is must be the world as it stays. And at Moonlight Mate Stories, we see you. Every scarred, scared, fierce part of you. Every dream you've been told to bury. Every revolution you've been told to abandon. We see you. And we're telling your story. So go out there and refuse to dim. Refuse to break. Refuse to accept cages, even comfortable ones. Burn bright, silver wolves. The world needs your light. And remember, every ending is also a beginning. What will you begin today? 5 years after the curse broke and the hierarchy fell, I found myself in a garden that didn't exist before. Mara designed it, a place where silver flowers grow alongside shadow blooms, where light and dark coexist without conflict. It's become a symbol of what we've built, a realm that embraces complexity instead of fearing it. Mama! A small voice calls, and I turn to see them, 2 children with silver eyes and their father's steady presence, running through the garden with the careless joy of wolves who've never known cages. Kieran catches them both, laughing as they climb him like a tree. Our twins. Born free in a world we chose to create. Mara sits on a bench nearby, a young Omega girl leaning against her shoulder. One of dozens she's taken under her wing, teaching them that survival is an art, but living is a choice. Are they always this chaotic? The girl asks. Always, Mara says with a smile that still surprises me with its warmth. But chaos is where the best things grow. I join them, and Kieran hands me one of the twins, our daughter, who reaches for the silver flame dancing at my fingertips without fear. Tell us the story, she demands in that imperious way only 4-year-olds can manage. About the curse and the mean alpha and how you saved everyone. That's not quite how it happened, I say, but I'm smiling. Then tell us how it really happened, her brother insists from Kieran's arms. I look at my mate, my sister, the realm spread out beyond the garden, imperfect but striving, messy but honest, free. Once upon a time, I begin, there was a curse that no one thought could be broken. And there were 2 sisters who weren't supposed to exist. And there was a prince who learned that the strongest thing you can do is choose love even when the whole world says it makes you weak. Did they live happily ever after? The young Omega girl asks hopefully. Mara and I exchange glances. They lived, I say honestly. Some days were hard. Some days were beautiful. Some days they didn't know if they were doing anything right. But they lived together, chose each other every single day, and built a world where their children could ask questions like that without fear. That sounds better than happily ever after, the girl decides. It is, Mara agrees. Because ever after is just a fancy way of saying we keep trying. The sun sets, painting the garden in silver and gold. Tomorrow will bring new challenges. There are still packs who resist the changes, still wolves who miss the certainty of the old hierarchy, still work to be done. But tonight, in this garden where light and shadow grow together, we are enough. The curse is broken. The sisters are home. The revolution continues. And the silver wolves? We burn on. Thank you for walking this journey with Alara, Kieran, and Mara. Thank you for believing in broken things becoming whole. Thank you for refusing to accept easy answers. This is Moonlight Mate Stories, where tales burn bright and hearts beat fierce. Until next time, choose courageously. Love fiercely. And never, ever dim your light for anyone.